Welcome everybody. Today we're going to make a GUI text editor with like a custom graphical user interface without using a terminal interface. So we're going to make an actual custom graphical user interface. And yeah, that's basically it. It's going to be very lightweight and stuff because I have to put it in one video. So we can't make like a Visual Studio Code, add extensions and stuff. Just a small project like making a text editor and see. Yeah. Okay, just one quick thing before we get into the video. I now have a Patreon channel where you can get all sorts of exclusive content like courses of how to become good at programming and C, and also the full source code of all videos on my channel, and also my personal projects, and lots of other exclusive content and also tutorials. So if that sounds interesting to you and you want to support my channel, you can click the link in the description and become one of my first Patreon members. I would really appreciate it. But now let's get into the video. All right. What we're first going to do is I want to show you a library. It's called Runara, and it's not really a library. It's just one C file. It's a library I made when I was on vacation, and that's also the point why I'm making this project, because it's not like a UI library or something. I already made that. So in the other videos I used my UI library Lave, but it's currently under reconstruction, I might say. So we're not going to use any of that. We're just going to use this Runara library, which is just a library that handles initializers and handles an OpenGL batch rendering context or system or pipeline. And yeah, it just sets up all of the vertex arrays for the batch renderer and it does all of the rendering handling so that everything that is rendered is being rendered kind of efficiently. And it can render 10,000 quads per, and also more, but at 10,000 is the default, per draw call. So instead of like doing the naive thing of rendering every quad with one draw call, if you don't know anything about graphics programming, it's just one draw call is just telling the GPU that it should draw the stuff that you gave it onto the screen. For example, for the G, I would request one draw call, for the L, for the E, and that adds up very fast. But the batch renderer just batches all of the like the geometry that you want to render into one batch and then submits the batch at the end and renders it. And also I have like a little bit of a shader going on which can render like quads with border, with rounded corners and stuff. And also a text like font caching system, a text rendering system, and also text shaping system. And by the way, it's only like 1,500 lines of code because for the text shaping, I'm using the very popular text shaping library Harfbus. And then I just have a very simple caching system for that, and also for the free type font images or atlases, because if you load a glyph or something, if you want to for example load the f glyph, it adds it creates, like if you have a font, then the font has one OpenGL texture associated with it, and on that texture all glyphs that are being rendered with the font are automatically added if they are being rendered basically on the client side. So if you want to render the text hello, then the atlas consists of the glyphs H, E, L, and O, because that's the glyph that are used in the hello text, and it's also automatically resized and stuff. So it's just a utility for rendering basically. That's what we're going to be using. And yeah, but for like OpenGL context initialization, all of that good stuff, we're going to be using native libraries. I'm going to use X11 because that's what I use, because my window manager is also written in X11. All right, so let's go to it. All right, so let's create just a folder called text editor. No, I already have something like that. So text editor YouTube maybe. So text editor YouTube. Just create a main file and let's do the basic build system check. I think we can void that out. All right, so printf hello text. Okay, and then we just return 0 and put the make file, and the make file is just cc is equal to gcc. Yeah, just going to use the GNU compiler. Then I think it's all, and then cc-o editor, and then everything.c. Right, very simple. I'm not going to like overload the thing, just the simplest possible make file. All right, so we have that. Like our first goal is going to be creating a like I can maybe like I have a scratchpad system. Yeah, I have the scratchpad system. Also, maybe install Runara if you like the window manager. It can do a lot of nice stuff. It's linked in the description. It's my window manager. No, just joking. But okay, so we have the scratchpad. Okay, so let's have some nodes like that, and okay, like create a windowing layer or something like that. Initialize OpenGL. Initialize Runara, so the rendering library. Think of a data structure to store the text, because obviously there are lots of data structures like ropes and gap buffers, and also linked lists can be used. Yeah, to represent like a text file. Render the text, then render cursor. All right, so let's first do the windowing, and for that we're going to be use X11 because I have a window manager based on X11 and using Wayland wouldn't work. All right, so xlib, and I think we also need the x header. And then we need to create a connection to the X server, and I think it's display pointer display is equal to, then the X open display function just opens a like a X server display connection, like a connection to the X protocol, I would say, so that we can use it, and we need to store the variable. All right, so after creating the connection, we can already create a window. I think it's X creates simple window, right? Okay, so we need a display, and also the functions are very badly documented. So let's, oh, perfect, like that. Let's look at the man page. All right, okay, it's returns the window, and it's that function, okay. The parent is just a root window, right? That does it already oh my god, that's a bug. Yeah, maybe also don't use Ragnar. All right, so the parent is just, I think, default root window of display. And the X and Y, we just zero them out because they're handled by the window manager. Width and height. Let's just say a simple 1280 by 720. And the border width and border and background, just zero all of it out because it's already all of it is handled by the window manager. Okay, and then we get our window. And maybe it should be global because I'm sure we're going to need the window in some other functions. So let's create simple window, and that's let's see. So then I think we have to map the window, then maybe flush the server, but I don't know if it's necessary. Then just while one, we say X next event. And then we need a next event, and display event. And here we do X destroy window, and X close display. Okay, so that's okay. Yeah, okay. So let's link with the X11 stuff. And then we have editor make. Alright, editor. Okay, nice. So we have a window and we can kill it. But we get this message. I don't really know why it happens, but I think it's just because Ragnar just sends a kill event which exits that, which also segfaults. But we can like how do you say that, combat that by just getting the atom delete window, like the delete atom window, and then X intern atom display, and it's like WM delete window, I guess. And for this is the only if exists or something, and we just say true. And then okay, then we have the atom, and now we want to say X set WM protocols display win, then atom. Oopsies. Oh no. The atom delete window atom, because we need to like kind of okay, and then we can like say if ev.type equal client message, if we got this client message event to kill, then we need to look if it's like if the client message was actually the kill atom, because we are getting sent a kill window or delete window like event or atom, and to check that we just say event.xClient.data and then .l at 0, and if that's equal to the, how do we name it, delete window atom, then we can say, yeah, okay, we got a close event, so we can just break, I guess. Right. All right, so let's see if we're gonna do. All right, that exited successfully and also printed hello text. So nice. So that fixed our issue. To initialize OpenGL context, I think there's this GLX thing, but I think, yeah, GLX, I don't have man pages for that. So that can be a problem. Initialize OpenGL context xlib. GLX and xlib. STL are included. Alright. X open display, default root window, and then we have a VI. GLX choose visual. Okay, sounds interesting. And then we create a color map. Okay. Why do we need the color map? Alright, so I think that's a bit dumb, because I mean, can't we just create the OpenGL context after the window? Because the window doesn't need to know about the OpenGL context, right? I didn't really find what I was thinking, because what I wanted to do is just have an OpenGL context like that. So it's called GLX context, GL context, and create it. Like more, and no, not more than that. I don't want to create a window with a color map that needs to have the OpenGL vision and stuff. Just that. And it already works, and it also works. I'm using the code of one of my earlier projects. So could just write that down because it's really easy. So let's have not an int but a void, create gr context. Then we need to get the screen ID of the default screen from X. And then we need the display. So let's have the display also globally, because Yeah, I mean, we could create a state struct or something. I am usually doing that for my private projects, or also other projects, but let's just don't make it too complicated for us. Then we need some attributes for the visual that we want the visual to have. For example, RGBA support. Yeah, pretty obvious. I mean, we should always have RGBA support nowadays. Why do I have to specify that? Or whatever. Okay, the depth size needs to be 24, and we have a double buffer. And then none at the end. I think it always needs to have none at the end for some kind of reason. And then we have a x visual info. Visual info is equal to glx choose visual, and I already saw that online, so we need to use that. And the display, then the screen ID for the screen, and what else? The attribute list. Yeah, we can just give it the attribute, right? And then technically, if the visual is null, so if not visual info, we can just, yeah, let's just report an error. So failed to choose or no suitable OpenGL visual font. Okay, and then we just return because we don't want to create the GL context then. But here we can actually create the context because we need a visual for the context, so that's why we created the visual before. So display and then the visual info. Share list is no direct. Yeah, true. Right, always those parameters. Okay, and then if wait, do we have a pointer? Is it a pointer? No, it's not a pointer. But I think this thing is a pointer. Alright. So if not GL context, so that's so then we can just say we couldn't create the context, so OpenGL context cannot be created. Okay, and then we kind of create the context, and then have a glx, I think, make current, yeah, make current display win and GL context to make the current context. Okay, and then LGL, I guess. Okay, glx make current invalid thing. Right, so it also tells us that no suitable OpenGL visual was found. And to be honest, I spent like 5 minutes figuring out what the fuck is going on. Then I noticed something. GL, I wrote GL, not GPA. It's GLX. I'm sorry, man. Alright, so now it works. And we have an OpenGL context. But to actually draw something, I think we need to listen to expose events, because expose events are like the events if the window needs to be redrawn. So ev type equal expose. But for that, like, Windows typically don't listen for expose events, right? Like by default. So to make it listen, I think it's x set input. No, it's x select input. Right. So x select input. So let's look at the man page of x select input. Specifies the window event mask. Okay, so display event mask window, right? No, display window event mask, but here it's display. Alright. But why is it ordered differently? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, specifies the event mask, right? So basically pretty easy. I think it's like exposure mask. Okay. And then if we have an expose event, we need to swap the buffer. So it's just swap buffers with glx and the window. And also we need to GA clear, GA color buffer bit, and GA clear color. I mean, yeah, let's just take red for now. I don't know if is there anything else? Maybe I forgot something. I have no idea. But we cannot even use the GL function. Right. Because we could try and start it, and we can use the GL functions. Well, that's interesting. Maybe because we use the GL header, but I thought we need to first load them. And also we need to have a initial render, but I mean, who cares? Okay, that's pretty cool. I think because normally you would just load them with some OpenGL function loader like that. But that seems to work pretty nicely. All right, so now let's just set up our rendering library, which is just Runara. It's very, as I told you in the beginning, it's a very simple library. So we can clone Runara. Perfect, already in my history. And then to install it, we can just sudo make install, right? If you want to follow along, there are some dependencies that you need to install. So you can look at the makefile. It has like clipboard, but that's actually not needed. I mean, I need to put that because that was needed in the project that the library is coming from, but now I don't need it anymore. So free type, half-pass, and font config are the main things that you need to install if you want to work with it. All right, so it's installed. Then we can just include runara / runara delete. And also, like a good practice, like a very good practice, because if we don't do it, then the project will just not compile, is to just put the dependencies of your dependencies in your dependencies, right? Okay, and then before that, you need to specify the dependency, like link with the dependency that has those dependencies. Okay, so that's it. Let's try and say rn init, and then that returns an rn state pointer. So rn state, render state or something. So render state is equal to rn init, and then we need a render width. Let's have something like, because that's very janky to write that twice. So win width and win height. 720. Okay, and the so that's, but it's actually the initial, but who cares, bro? Who cares? So win width and win height, and the loader is just RNGL loader, and then glx. I think it's glx something. I need to look that up. Right, it's glx get proc address arp. That's the OpenGL loader, but we actually don't need an OpenGL loader because apparently the functions are already loaded by X or something. I don't know, but let's still load them because Runara needs them to be loaded by Runara itself. Okay, so rn init, and then what we can basically do is first use the Runara library for the color, because the thread color, we're not going to be using that. And we can use rn color, like clear color or something, is equal to, and then rn color from hex. And that's just the hex, like 28, 28, 28. That's the hex color of the groovebox background. I like groovebox, so why not? So rn, it's rn color to 0 to 1, because the OpenGL thing obviously expects colors to go from 0 to 1 in float. And that's returning from 0 to 255 colors. So initializing rn color with incompatible type. Ah, right, that's a vec4s then, because it floats. So color is equal to, we just say color.r, color.g, color.b, color.a, right? Okay. So let's check if, what the fuck? Ah, like that. Okay, perfect. Look at that, it worked. Maybe if you have a screen that can't differentiate black and like dark gray that good, maybe you didn't even see it, but it's a pretty nice color. So void render, let's Let's put all of that in a render function because we need to pre-render and I don't want to have the code twice like that. Then before we render, and then maybe we could also send an expose event, but why the hell make it complicated if it doesn't have to be? Right. Okay, now we have a nice background. All right. So render, and by the way, in render, what I wanted to do is we need to. That's the color thing, and then we need to run resize display with the render state to the dimensions that we want to render with. So width, or like render width, render height, because Runara needs to know how big the canvas is. Okay, so we resize the display, and then in here we just tell it when width and when height, and in here is just ev.x expose.width and ev.x expose.height. Okay, I tried. Nice. So let's start rendering with Runara. Just rn begin and rn end, and then let's just render a simple text. So rn text render, and for that we need a font to render the text with. And I already know a very cool font. So font. I know a very cool font. It's called, I think, Iosefka or something. Because it's very nice for yeah, for coding, and it looks it actually looks decent. I'm not using it currently, but let's use it still. So oh my god, before render font is equal to rn load font. The state is render state. I had a brain like and then rn font file from name io zefka, and the size is 24. And in here we just rn text render state. Text is hello world, right? Basic hello world. Then the font is font. And the position is, let's just have it 2020 to have a small padding to make it look better. Oh, I don't get autocomplete anymore. Color white. It's RN, it's the other library I get. I'm sorry. Right. So let's see. Hello world. Perfect. So we are already rendering stuff. Let's go, guys. Perfect. Alright, so for those of us who don't know what a linked list is, it's just a list of things, for example, of lines. But every line, for example, you have this line in which I have hello, then another line world, then this line has a next pointer that points to the next line, which is world, and this line also has a next pointer that just points to 0, so null because it's the last line. But this pointer also has a previous pointer, so they point to each other if it's a doubly linked list, and by that you can easily like do something like jumping between lines, you know, because then you just what you just want to do is like set the pointer to the previous pointer, and that's it. All right, so now let's implement that. Let's have a data structure.h file. So pragma once, and what we need is a line. So type def struct line because I'm type defing it before that, just so that we can have struct line, and within the line a line pointer, right? So line pointer next and previous, and then we have a text, and that's it. We don't need anything else in the line. Okay, so like that. Okay, now for the functions, what we need is a way to append a line into the list when there is no other line in the list, you know, for appending for example one line at the beginning of, like, if the program initializes to have one line in the buffer. So let's have a line append, and it takes in the head of the linked list. It takes in the text that we want to append, like the text of the line, and then what do we need to take in anything else? I don't think so. So let's have just the text of the line, and then the oh, it's called, oh, I have the other convention. Oh my god. I'm so, like, in every project I have a different convention of writing. Sometimes I have it in snake case, sometimes camel case, sometimes that thing and that, and with the T convention. I don't know. All right, and then what is also very important is adding a line after some line. For example, if I'm here at line 12 and press enter, it adds a line after line 12, but keeps those lines. So not appending, but adding after. So let's say line pointer, line add after. And then we need, yeah, we obviously need the head. We always need the head of a linked list. And then what we need is the insertion point. Let's call it that. Insertion point, which is basically the point of like the line or insertion. Just let's call it just insertion. But that's also dumb. Let's just call it before. You know, because that's the line that's before the line that we want to add. You know. All right. So before, and yeah, and then the text that we want to add. That's it. Right. And then we have a. Do we need anything? No, we don't. No, now what we need basically is just a removing. So line remove takes in the head. And by the way, in here we don't take the head in as a double pointer because we don't need to modify the head. But in here we modify the head, and in here as well. So we need to take it as a double pointer. So line T pointer head, and then just the line to remove. Oh, line T thing. So dumb. Yeah. I sorry, man. So line, and line. Right. And then do we need anything else? I don't think so for the linked list. That's all we need. But what we can also write into that file, because why not, is just inserting into a line. So line insert takes in the line we want to insert to. And then we need to, I mean, we could shake in a char C to insert and a uint32 index. But I'm already thinking, what about Unicode? You know, because what cool editor doesn't support Unicode? Like Ü, and all of those scuffed languages, they all have different Unicode. And also, I am very proud of the fucking Unicode handling system within my rendering library. So that needs to be used. So let's just, instead of char C, let's have a char pointer, because Unicode always takes them like more than 1 byte, so we need a char pointer of Unicode to insert. Unicode. All right, and then we need to include stdint. So include stdint.h, and then basically, and that's always the line T. And then basically what we also need is like line, like, how do you call that? Like remove, but not remove, like remove add cursor or something, because it's not line T. I'm learning. It's line. And then we have a uint32t index to remove it, because if we do something like this, we just removed at a certain index. And I think that's all of the functions we are currently needing. So let's just implement all of them. That's going to be fun, especially for the Unicode. I mean, I have no idea how to insert Unicode, but I think we can work with that. Just somehow calculate the bytes length of the Unicode and stuff. So line append, line add after, and like that. Line remove, line insert, and then remove that. The 5 big functions, right? So line append. Line append is actually very easy. I mean, we just need to have a line pointer is equal to malloc size of then line. Because we need to allocate a new line, right? It's not stdio, it's stdlib. Sorry. And then just have line text is equal to stir.text. Because we need to assign the text and we need to string dupe it because this thing is getting out of scope. So that's how we hang on to it. Yeah, I mean, we could do if not line return null, right? To be extra safe. And if not line text, maybe that also didn't work. We can also return null. Alright, so now we need to get the last element in the linked list to insert after, right? Because that's appending. But for that, let's say line next is equal to null because we are appending stuff, which means putting it at the end. So everything at the end has a next of null, right? So line next is equal to null, and then we have if we don't have a head, so if not head, not if head. So if not head, oh my god, no pun intended. Then we just say pref is equal to null because it's the if there's no head allocated, we need to say that the head is equal to line to the allocated line, and we can also return the line. And it doesn't have a previous because it's the first thing in the list, right? And but else we can just calculate the last thing. So don't I have last? Okay, I think I already wrote it down. So last is equal to head, and then while last next not equal null. So basically while we didn't reach the end, we say last is equal to last next. So increment the element pointer. Right. And then we say last next is equal to line, and last previous is equal to I mean line previous equal to last, right? Because like if we have the last node, it's not the last node anymore because it now has a next pointer that points to the line, which then has a next pointer that's 0. But yeah, and the previous node of the now new node that's at the end is the previous last node, right? Okay, and then we just return the line. Okay, and now the add after is also, it's basically the same thing, but I still like separated them, but whatever. So it's we again allocate a new line, and then we say line text is equal to not that, it's that start up, and the text is just the text that we gave it. And if not line text, we just return null. Okay, because like basically you can copy the thing. I mean, why write it down again? Right? What is that? I forgot a comma. Okay, so before next is equal to line. That's the basic thing that we need to do because that's basically squashing, like inserting the like after the next no, after the before node, right? And then also we can say if the line next does not equal null, line next pref is equal to line. Okay, so let's go about removing lines. I mean removing lines is also just removing the pointers of the line. So let's first check if the line is equal head, and if so, we just advance the head to the next node after the line node. And now if the line had a previous pointer, then we say the next, so the next thing is the line next, because from the perspective of the previous thing, before the line that we wanted to delete, we cannot say the next thing is now delete a line. We not must say it's the line after the deleted one to actually delete it. Yeah. And also the other way around, if we had a next pointer, then we say line next previous, so the one before the next one, so our line is equal to the previous one before us, right? So that's how we just completely get rid of all of the references to our deleted line, and then we free the line to, and then we also can free the text of the line because we allocated that by stored. Right, that's it for deleting lines. Okay, now line insert. Line insert is going to be a little bit hard because we need something like, for example, if I had this text, hello, right, with this air character. I know it's disgusting. No, I'm just joking. But that's kind of a mess because if I would index into it, and then I would say like at index 1, we don't really have the air. We have, because what it looks like is like something like, I don't know, 70 or 72 or I don't know, 73. I have no idea what the age character is, but let's say that. And then we have 2 bytes in here for the air, and then we have 2 other bytes for this, you know, and that makes up 6, right? But we only have 5 characters, so we need a function that kind of finds the position in like in actual, like finds the actual index, you know, by like the byte position by index. So let's do that. For that, we basically need a function to calculate the character length of some UTF-8 character, and I have a function for that. So from another project, UTF-8 charlen. Let's just use that because I think the standard library doesn't have that, and it's just this huge thing, and it basically gives us 1, 2, 3, or 4, which are the lengths of the character. Alright, so now let's have a function like it returns an int32t, like find byte index by char index, and then we take the string to index and the index, right? And then we have the byte index I also, because we need to iterate. Let me see. So let's say, do we even need a y? I mean, yeah, I think so, because then we can check for the char index. So so if we have the string at the byte index, if while that is not equal 0, so while we didn't reach the end of string and the I is less than the index that we gave, and we say I++, right? So that's what I meant. And then we have the byte index, and then we just add the UTF-8 char length of the current character, right? That's basically it. And so and then we return the byte index. So that's how we get the byte index. Right, so now we have a function for correctly inserting, but now we need to actually insert. Also, I want to have, like if I don't have enough space in my string, I want the string to reallocate new memory so that we have enough space, right? Because it's not like a line ends, like if I have something like this and then randomly I can insert like until here or something, that would be bad. So let's say something like line text is equal to realloc the line text, and then what we need is like the length of the current text plus the length of the UTF-8 that we want to insert. So for that, let's just have a int32t len text is equal to strlen of line text, basically. The size that we want to allocate is just the len text plus len Unicode. And then +1 for the null terminator, right? But now to insert into the string, what we need to do is, like if I have this string and I want to insert an a right here, then we need to make space for the a first in the string array, and then insert it in the space that I made. So and yeah, and for that what we need is our function. So int32t byte index is equal to, how did we call it, byte, find byte index by char index. All right, and it's just the line text and the index, right? And then now make place for the thing that we want to insert. So for int32t I is equal to length of the text minus 1. So it's we're iterating backwards. So I is greater or equal to byte index and then I minus minus. Right, and then align text at I plus the length of the Unicode is equal to line text at I. Right? So that's basically how we like make space for the Unicode that we want to insert, and shift that away so that we can easily insert. And now we have a uint32 I is equal to 0, I is less than length of the Unicode, and then I plus plus, and then what we basically do is, so line text at I, no, at I plus, but I mean it's a little bit more easy to understand if I have it like this. And here we have like the byte index plus I, right? Is equal to Unicode at I, which is just overwriting the newly acquired memory with the Unicode. And then we say line text at line text as line Unicode is equal to 0 to make to actually know how large the text now is, and also to to just not terminate a string, because every string needs to be not terminated. Right, okay, now the last thing, removing also Unicode, right? So we need to take that into account. What we basically need is also first the byte index. So that's the exact same thing. And the length of the character that we want to remove, so char then is equal to UTF-8 charlen of line text at the index. And then, I mean, we can just do int I is equal to byte index. So that's where we start, and then we end when len text at line text at I plus char len not equal not terminated will not cause sec faults, right? Because we are adding char len to I by accessing text, so I plus char len. So that's basically how you remove something from an array, but instead of +1 we have plus char len, because char len can be more than 1. So that's basically it. I think that's how you remove something from an array. And then then you need to null terminate, right? But I don't have I don't know where, but I think I can just say like this. So just like that, and that's, by the way, an int32t. So let's strip out the I, so we can then say line text at the I that we now have is equal to \0. Right. Okay, that's basically it for our data structure. It took a while, and it's also a lot of code, but I hope everything works correctly, right? Okay, so now let's implement it. What we basically need is a line lines, because that's our head. And then what we do is also we need a current line. Current line. What we basically do is current line is equal to line append 2 lines, and then hello or something, just to have something appended, and then and then we need to display our lines, right? So let's say for unit 32 I is equal to 0, I is less than okay, no. Oh no, we can't do that. We need to do line t, or not t, it's line pointer L is equal to lines, and that's how you just iterate a linked list. You say it like that. L is not equal to null, and L is equal to L next. Yeah, and then we render the text, but the text that we render is just L text, right? L text, and then also what we need is a y, so float y is equal to 20, and then y plus equal font.size, y plus equal font.size, and that's font, and that's y. All right, so make hello. That sounds interesting. Nice. Okay, let's maybe have a lot of hellos. Look at that. Maybe 10 hellos. I mean, cannot ever have too many hellos. Look at that. Is it already is it also 10? 3, 6, 9, 10. Nice. But okay, that looks kind of nice, but we basically are just displaying. But what we actually need is and by the way, what about hello, right? Works perfectly fine. That's actually very cool. I'm very proud that that instantly worked. But all right, now what we need is some kind of editing functionality, and for that we need to make use of the input manager and all of that from Xorg, because I already have that implemented somewhere in another project, but you basically, if you have like the key event, right, you can listen for key events, and then you cannot really convert those key events because they only give you a key code and not like a actual like key you press, like for example W or A. And for that you need something like a win input manager, and that already handles also Unicode input, which is cool. So let's implement that. All right, so what we basically need is the input context and an input manager, from what I understand. So XIM and XIC, right? And then before creating our window, we need to open our context, our input context, or input manager, I think. So XIM is equal to X open XIM. It takes in the display and then some random arguments. I'm just going to know them out because it works. I think they're really not necessary. And that's it. So that's how you open the input manager. But now we also have to open our IC, and it's some other function. I need to look that up. Okay, so what we also need to do is something like set locale modifiers to this, because for some reason we need that. Maybe it's also not necessary, but I did that in another project, so just going to do it for safety. Now we can create our XIC by creating the X create IC, right? And now we have some random flags like XN input style, and then XIM predit nothing. Like, that sounds really interesting, right? And XIM status, I think nothing, yeah. And XN client window, and then we just specify our window, and null at the end. XIC expected semicolon. Okay, right. Yeah. Okay, so that's how we create that, but we also need to do that after creating the window, obviously. All right, so that's our setup for our input thing. Now what we need to do is listen for actual key events. So let's see, where's our listening thing? Exposure mask and then a key press mask also. And then we check if ev.type equal key press. Then we say we need. I have some function to convert it. Let me see. All right, so we need to have the key sim. Then we need a UTF-8 actual string that we get from our key that we pressed. Let's have 32 just to really make sure. I mean, it's just 32 bytes. Who cares? And a status, because our xlookup string function needs a status. And then we get the length of the string from. I mean, we can call it like then UTF-8 to really make sure everyone understands this code. UTF-8 lookup string, and it takes our okay, not our window but our XIC. And then I think the event, right, takes in. Oh no, it takes in the key event. So event.xKey, and also the buffer that it needs to write to. So UTF-8 string, and then the size of oh my god, size of UTF-8 string -1 for the length, and the key sim is just the key sim that I was talking about. So key sim and status. All right, so that's what it needs, and then we can basically print it. So we can just print UTF-8 string and see if it maybe worked. Let's go. Nice. But it's kind of doesn't seem to work for Unicode characters. Okay, I think I know why, because we need to have the UTF-8 string not terminated at the length UTF-8 string, because apparently the function doesn't do it for us. I hope that fixes it. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Let's go. Let's freaking go. But now instead of inserting, let's just append nothing. And instead of printing, we want to insert, right? So line insert into current line. We want to insert the UTF-8 string, and the index is cursor, right? So let's have a cursor, line cursor. So line cursor, and then we just have line cursor ++, I guess. And then also we need to re-render. But no, we don't have the window width, so we don't get around tracking our window width. I mean, we can also, yeah, we could question, like, not question, but ask the X server for the width of the window and stuff, but I don't care. Let's just have the win width, win height, and always if we render, we always set win width to render width and win height, render height. Maybe at the beginning to make sure. And then we render with win width, win height, right? All right. Seems kind of awesome. Let's go. Look at that shit. Look at that shit. But you see that how it adjusts the text based on how big it is. That's functional Runara, because and by the way, in Runara, every function you can just copy and paste every function into your own code and then just modify it as you like it, because the functions are very small and understandable. So that's what I'm going to do, because the RN text render what it basically does, it gets the highest bearing, and the highest bearing, and then basically shifts the text down by the highest bearing instead of by some other um, value like the font size or something that is static or constant. I mean, but I want to have it constant in the text editor because it's dumb that that the text is shifting. I mean that shouldn't happen, right? So let's fix that just by saying HB text as highest bearing is equal to font dot size. And that's it. Font size. Let's call it my or render render text, right? Why I am? Oh my god! What the fuck? Why am I deleting comments? It's so unnecessary. Right. Okay. So that's basically it. And then instead of calling rn-text render, we call render text. And yeah, maybe now we have too many function call thingies. That does make sense, right? Because it's the same function. I didn't change anything. Too few arguments to function call. Expected 7. Line height. I copied the ex function. I'm dumb. Okay, so let's just remove line height and render, or like maybe, okay, maybe I'm just going to say the line height is basically the size, like the size that the text advances the y when a new line is hit. But we split our lines by new lines and advance ourselves, so we can just say 0, right? Because that's never used. And render is true because we can also not render the text but just calculate it, so we can, for example, get the width and height of the text, but we want to render. And now it's always aligned perfectly. That's very cool. That's actually nice. Okay, so now let's add, what do we want to add? I mean, we can add if ev dot, okay, so if it's a key press, right? But if the ev.key code or ev.xkey.key code is equal, and then it's x key sim to key code, I guess, right? Display x key left, for example. If we pressed left, we want to say align cursor minus minus, and only if line cursor minus 1. And is the line cursor unit? That's bad, because then it will overflow. Or underflow, basically. If line cursor is greater or equal than 0, then we do that and re-render. Okay. And what happens if, oh, it jumps to the next line? Okay, we need to also do that, but that's in the next step. Not else. There's no else. Like until now, for right? Okay, so okay, right, and it's +1, and if that is sterlen of is smaller than or equal to sterlen of current line text. All right. Then we say plus plus and render. Okay. And then else. So if no like function keys were pressed, we want to insert the pressed key. But here's an else if then. All right. Like that, and then. Okay, perfect. Okay, so it worked, but we don't have a cursor, so we can't really see it. But we can render a cursor. Let's render a cursor. Okay, so hello, and then 1 back. Okay. Maybe I didn't press it. I don't know. Hello. Yeah. Nice. Very cool. Okay, so that works, but without a cursor, you can't really get what I'm doing. So let's add a cursor actually. Just render it. I mean, we can just have the argument. So u32t cursor, and then do we have an I? Yeah, we have an I. So if render, if I equal cursor, then we want to rect render. So we also need to make sure that this is done. So if cursor equal sterlen of text that we want to render, then we render also at the position. I think that should work, right? Okay, render text too few arguments. Yeah, okay, right. So where is it? Render text. I mean, where did I put the shitty argument? Before render, I'm so dumb. But whatever. So line cursor. Right. Amazing. You see that? That looks very nice. And also enter works. Oh my god, enter works. That's so cool because I think it's because okay, now if I press up, the thing is just overwhelmed. But enter works because I think that the Unicode of enter is a \n, right? And the Unicode of enter is a \n, which inserts \n into the string, and Runara, I'm sorry, I'm messing up my libraries. Runara is rendering \n as, like, is processing them as just, yeah, going into the next line. So that's cool, but we don't want that. It's cool, but we don't want that because we generally don't want, because then it is then it is one line, like everything is one line then, one big line, and that doesn't make sense. Because then our fucking linked list doesn't make any sense. So let's say else if ev.xkey.keycode equal x key sim to keycode display xk enter, or return, I mean. So if we pressed return, and what we want to do is insert a new line. So line insert, or line add after. So line add after, the head is just lines, before is current line, and text is nothing. And current line is equal to that then. And line cursor is equal to 0. Makes sense. And then we just re-render. So now let's see. That's absolutely perfect. Okay, why didn't it work? I have no idea. So let's print. That maybe worked. That didn't work. So let's look into line add after. Alright, I think we need to have the line, because we don't set a previous. The previous thing before the line is before, right? And line next is before next, right? Okay, I think that should work. Maybe now the segfault doesn't segfault anymore. Right, okay, that worked, but right, okay. But yeah, it's kind of stupid because we are rendering the cursor everywhere. So let's say only if L equal current line, then we want to line cursor, and then else -1, which just doesn't render it anywhere because the I is never 1, is -1, right? Okay, and then what I also noticed, let's just only insert if len not equal 0, right? So then UTF-8 there. Then we want to insert and re-render. Okay, so let's make the clearly braces. I should try to avoid them, but whatever. Okay, so that's makey. Right, nice. And what if we press like the Windows key? Nothing happens. Cool. Cool. So we can technically already write. Okay, we cannot delete anything, right? Because we don't have backspace implemented. But I think we can also do that right now. So if ev.xk.keycode equal keysim to keycode display xk backspace, then what we want to have is just line remove at current line cursor, then line cursor. I think we can do minus line cursor, because if the cursor is at the end, it's one outside the one, so we need to pre-decrement, right? Okay, and also if line cursor minus 1 is greater or equal to 0, only then. Only then. Right? Okay, now okay, we can also implement going between lines. I mean, if we already added, so ev.xkey.keycode keysim to keycode display xk up, right? So if we want to go up, then what we basically say is, let me think. Yeah, I mean, it's just if current line pref, then current line equal current line pref, and re-render. And if line cursor is greater than or equal no, it's greater than the sterling of current line text, we just say line cursor is equal to sterling of current line text, right? Because I mean, if we came from a big line to a small line, we need to cap it to the string length of the line, right? Okay, so now we can go up, right? Okay, but what the fuck is that? Why is it zeroed out? I mean, doesn't that I mean, that does make any sense in my opinion. The fuck? Okay, let's print the line cursor. Minus line cursor. I mean, okay, guess print as line cursor. Oh my god. Oh my god, what the hell? Line cursor. Okay, so wait. That's the fucking backspace. That's not what I wanted, right? Am I completely dumb? Here, line cursor. Okay, line cursor 3. Okay, now it works or what? Oh my god, I don't care. Okay, but let's see if we have a big line. Oh my god, if we have a big line and a small line. Okay, now it jumps perfectly fine. Right. Okay, so that works, but we can't go down. So let's implement down real quick. So like that, just copy it, and it's basically the same thing. So down is just if the next pointer is set, then we say it's next, and basically the same thing, right? So like that, that. Look at that. That's so cool. Right. So we can, I mean, we can factor out yeah. No, no, no. Okay, so because what I thought on the backspace thing, because if we, hello, if we backspace right here, I'm pressing backspace and nothing is happening, right? So that's dumb. That's kind of dumb. So what we need to do is remove the line and put the pointer, like the cursor, to the next line. All right, so in here we just say else, and then current line is equal to current line pref, because we want to advance, not advance, right? And then we say line remove, aligns the head, and then basically current line next, because we basically jumped onto the save line, and then from there on we remove this line, right? Okay, and then we say line cursor is equal to UTF-8 is equal to sterlen of current line text, because we need to yeah, go at the to the end of the text. All right, so that looks good. Okay, it kind of worked, right? -1 greater than equals 0 to line cursor. I mean, we can print it. So printf line cursor %i line cursor. Right. Okay. Editor. Line cursor 2, then 1, then 0, and then 6. Ah, because we don't re-render, right? Okay, so render. So we basically want to render as well. So we always want to render basically. Like that. Nice. Yeah, but now the problem is if we do something like this, yeah. But we want to, like, if we do it in a normal text editor, we always get the line right here. So for that, let's see. So let's say, because we want that behavior if the line is completely done, and we want another behavior if there's still stuff on the current line. So line len, right? We need to have the sterlen of the line. So sterlen of line of current line text. And if the line then is equal to 0, we have that, and else we say something different, right? But we probably have to concatenate it to strings or something. In here we say if as current line pref, because if we don't even have a next line, then we don't need to do it, and it's not s, by the way. We don't have a state. Right. So else, what we basically say is so the current line, but the previous, so the basically like the line we want to go to, text is equal to, and then we just concatenate the current line pref text with the with our text. So current line text seems pretty easy. And yeah. And then what we basically say is current line is equal to current line pref. And then yeah, we just say line cursor is equal to, yeah, okay, now that's a little bit, how do we even do that? I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just like that, right? Okay, so the cursor stays here. So basically sterlen of s current line text. Whoa, not s. So the sterlen minus the current line text, right? Because then we end up there. So that kind of makes sense. And yeah, and then we basically want to remove the line like here. And what's the problem? Current line text, oh, by the way, sterlen minus sterlen. Okay, and then we free. No, we not don't need to free anything. Yeah, let's try. What the fuck? Okay, so that's another problem, but like that. Okay, nice. But the cursor didn't really correctly update. Oh my god. So that's nice. It's basically because current line. Okay, that's a problem. So we can just say current, but wait. Current line next text, right? Current line next text. Next text. Okay, so like that. Nice. Okay, but now for enter, if we press enter in a place like this, it's obviously not working. So let's also fix that. So where's our return? Where is it? In here. Nice. So yeah, what we do is that we check if we are at the end. So if line cursor, the fuck? If line cursor, by the way, what I wanted to test before, if I have something like this. Oh, okay. Nice, that works. All right, so if line cursor is equal to the sterling of current line text, what we say is that, and else, yeah, we are doing something. And first we need to calculate the length of the new line, because we need to insert something into the new line. For example, like if I have that, we would insert this string into the newly created line, and to get the length of that, we need to get the length, and it's basically the length of the current line minus the cursor. Oh my god, the current line text minus cursor. Where's the fucking cursor? Neat and cursor. And okay. All right. So then we have a new line which we need to allocate, and it's line +1 because of the null terminator. And what we do is we copy into the new line the current line text plus the cursor, right? Because if that's our text pointer and our cursor is here, we copy this into the new line and add a line after. So it's basically the same thing, but instead of this, we have the new line. And then we can free the new line because we still adapted or cubed it into the thing. Right. But yeah. Okay, I forgot one thing. We need to, if we still copy that, we also need to have we need to say not s but current line text at line cursor is equal to 0 to now terminate the line that we were on, because now it's only that, you know. Okay, maybe that already works. Let's see. Perfect. Okay, that's cool. But the line cursor needs to be updated, right? Okay, so it's basically always 0, right? Because if I have it like this, something. Yeah, okay, it's 0. Cool. Like that. Nice. Really cool stuff, right? Okay, and by the way, it's only like cosmetic, but we should have a way to make the font larger, because I already implemented that in my caching system to easily change font sizes. So let's also implement that, because now we have like lots of things already done. And okay, but before we do that, if I have backspace, because now if you press left a lot, then eventually you will go in here, right? Okay, but that's kind of not, that's kind of easy because you just, yeah, okay. I was thinking something that we could abstract that thing away, but whatever. All right. Okay, so let's copy that thing because I don't want to write it down every time. So xk plus or something. Yo, nice. If we press plus, and because we only want to if it's control plus, because we want to insert pluses, right? So, and I think it's x key dot modifiers or something. I don't know, mod state, right? And the state and control mask. Yeah, that's how you check if control is already pressed or also pressed. Then we want to say, then what we basically have is a int font size is equal to 24. And something about 24 as well. Here. Then we say font size right there. Right. Okay. So where is our thing? Here. We say rn set font size of, okay, so render state and font to font size. Yeah, like plus. So let's say font size plus equals something like 6 or something. Plus would be too slow. Let's add font like this. So, and then we re-render, right? But maybe we want to cap the font. So if font size is +6 is greater than or equal like 90 or something. Like that. Okay. So and then for this monstrosity again, we also need a xk minus, right? So -6 if that's greater than or equal to 0. Well, not 0, doesn't really make sense. But 6 maybe. Then we say minus. Okay. So let's see. Control plus plus plus. Oh my god, that's juicy, right? That's juicy. But our cursor is kind of, because in here we have our cursor always like in the middle, you know, and here is like a little bit bad. So let me see what I can do about that. So yeah, I think I was thinking something like maybe we can send that or something like that, but that's all really, yeah, like it has overhead, so we can maybe just have a different size for the cursor, right? Yeah, that's what I was thinking, right? So that also works. Nice. Okay, so hash include stdio.h int main int argc jar pointer argv. Oh, and that's also a thing, right? We need to yeah, we need to keep track of our cursor and then always show the cursor somehow, right? So that's the next thing, because I'm not writing hello world until everything is finished and perfect, right? Okay. Okay, so how are we doing that? I think what we are basically doing is calculating a x offset, right? By that we offset our text, and then we say if the cursor position, and then, okay, that's a little bit hard because we can't really get the cursor position, but what we can do is just return a float here, and don't return that, but just return post.x in here, or like, yeah, let's say float cursor was is equal to 0, and in where is it? In here we say cursor pos is equal to post.x, and return post.x, and then here return cursor pos. Right? Makes sense. Okay. So so what we basically need to do is re-render, so is pre-render our thing. So let's say 0, 0 for that. We need to pre-render the line that the cursor is actually on, right? So current line text, font and white and 0 and line cursor. And render is now false because we only need to have we need to only get the cursor position. The cursor pos is equal to that, and if the cursor pos is greater than or equal to the win width, because then it's not visible, then we can just say x offset is equal to cursor pos minus the win width, and then we can add plus font dot size, because then we always see it no matter what, because then I think it would be like right there, you know, but we want to have it a little bit offset, so that, I mean right there, a little bit offset so that we can always see it correctly, like the cursor. Right, and then what we need to do is just say 20 minus x offset. All right, let's see if that. Okay. Okay, so render is false in here, but it kind of didn't care. It kind of didn't care, I don't know. All right, so what is the problem? So who will render? If render and render. Right? Okay, so like that, and then let's make it a lot bigger. It worked perfectly. I get it, right? Because if render, but we say render is false and we don't assign cursor pos. But let's say else, if I equal to cursor, we just say cursor pos equal to pos.x, right? And here as well, else if render cursor pos equals pos.x. Yeah, and cursor equals the line of text, right? Okay. Yeah, okay. Nice. So let's see if it now works. Cursor pos is still 0. Why? Why the heck? Cursor? I mean, we gave the cursor, right? But as if, oh my, what the fuck? Not render. It's so dumb. Basically said, we basically said if something, and then else if the exact same thing, right? Okay, so that now works. Perfect. Okay, that's nice. But for one quick moment, it doesn't work. Okay, it's maybe because we need to have a buffer in here. Like, yeah, perfect. Okay, now that shit works. Very nice. So std io.h int main void. Yep, tab doesn't work, right? Tab doesn't. And by the way, also this does not work. So, I mean, we can do the same thing with y, can't we? Let me think. I think we can, right? So let's say render text returns a vector s. And then we have cursor pos x. Oh, I think cursor pos should be a vector s 0, 0. And then assigning vectors. Right. So cursor pos is equal to, yeah, it's equal to pos, right? And cursor pos equal to pos. And then in here we say is equal to cursor pos, right? And if cursor pos dot x, okay, and then dot x, and somewhere else. No, okay. X offset, and then we have Y offset, right? So Y offset, and then we have dot Y. Okay, I'm stopping it. Minus font size, and then Y offset, and then Y, and then height. And then in here, Y minus Y offset, right? Yeah, maybe that will work. Should kind of work. But okay, so let's before we test that, let's add tabbing because it's very easy. We can just insert spaces, and it's one too much like that. So xk tab. We just what we say is and not control, by the way. So just that. So what we say is where's our insert thing? Here, line insert. A space, and for unit HTTP I is equal to 0, I is less than 2, alpha false, because we have a 2 space tab, right? Do you see how it works? I also see it. It's probably because we don't re-render. Okay, hash include stdio.h int main void or int argc char pointer argc printf. Hello, and by the way, it's a little bit too close together, right? Hello world. Return 0. All right, so let's say where's the fucking font size? Font that's oh my god, how can I find it? Here. I saw you, man. Here. Times 1.5. Hash include stdio.h. The 1.5. Look, looks good, right? Oh, okay. And what about this? I like how it works. So cursor pos. Cursor pos? Cursor pos? Okay, so let's say printf %f cursor pos y 0 0 0 0, and x is not 0 or what? I mean, let's see. Yeah, that works, but why not or something? I mean, okay, so cursor pos is equal to I think because if it's at the end. All right, guys, so I found the solution. What I did, I mean, I kind of did it off camera, but I mean, I can show you. So the what I did is I calculated, because obviously we don't give a cursor y in here to render the text, because yeah, it's doesn't matter where we render it if we don't really see it. So we gave a 0 0, and then for the cursor y it got me always 0, because we are giving a position for the text to render at 0, right? Okay, and what I basically did is I pre-calculated the y on which the cursor will be by iterating through the lines and then breaking if we're on the current line, and for every line we just add the line offset that we always add to lines to the cursor y. And then we basically don't need the cursor pos.y, but let's just keep it. I mean, I don't really care. And then we have the cursor y, and just replaced every cursor pos.y with cursor y, right? And then I also have 20 a lot, so let's say float padding is equal to 20. And then everywhere where I have 20, we say padding. Right, and then I just did the same thing with y that I did with x, and now we can, as you can see, it works. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Now we can actually edit some text, right? So hash include stdio.h and then int main, and then we have index c char pointer pointer argv, and then we have printf hello world. Then maybe we have something like type def struct error. I mean, I'm just making some stuff up, right? And then char message 512, and then int message level, something like that. And as you can see, the pointer always follows. It seems like it. Okay, now it doesn't follow, right? Okay, but that's bad because okay, so now I have the pointer. It's here, and only if I do that. And what if I, okay, that's dumb. I mean, is it actually like that? Because if I go left, right? Okay, it doesn't it doesn't fucking update. Okay, guys, right. So in here, I just I just always assigned the cursor pos to the position at the end, and it was always thinking that the cursor is exactly at the end of the line. Always, also if I'm right here, position wise, right? Because I had this sterling of text and then not render, because and that will always evaluate to true. So its cursor is equals sterling of text. Only then we want to set the cursor pos to the position. And now, as you can see, it works. And also probably if I have something like this, and then I go here, and then I go here. Okay. Yeah, okay. I think everything works fine, right? But another problem, if I go left, you see, nothing happens. So let's fix that. So xk left, and then we say if line cursor -1, okay, but then else, what we just say, if s current line, oh my god, not s, not s, if current line pref, we say current line is equal to current line pref, right? And line cursor is equal to sterling current line. Wait, current line next, right? Current line, right? Current line text. Okay, I had a brain like, okay, and then we want to re-render. So let's see if that actually worked. And it did, but I think, yeah, okay, it correctly worked. Nice. Okay, but now the right, to the right. So let's say else if current line next, current line equal to current line next, line cursor equal to star line of current line text. Like that, and we render. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Okay, right. Okay, nice. So I think our error is basically done, right? I mean, what we probably should add and would also look good is line numbers, right? So, I mean, let's kind of do that, right? I mean, what we basically want is, yeah, I mean, the problem is that the line numbers, I mean, we can have, I mean, I say, I mean, too much, I know. But, let's see, I mean, bro, what the fuck? Okay, so let's see, because if I have a main.c in, oopsies, did I override it? No, that's good. So r.r, right? So what happens if it gets bigger? Does it Okay, everything adjusts. Okay, so I mean we can also implement that, right? So let's delete our R file. Right. We can also implement that. But it's a little bit tricky, right? Because what we basically do, so we go through every line, and then we have uint32t line num is equal to 1, and then because we started 1, and then line num plus plus, and then we say char buff maybe like 16, and then sprintf onto the buff we want to print the string, the line num. So line num, right? And then we want to get the width. It's equal to rn text props of so render state buff font. And font. Dot width. Okay. That's basically what we want to have, right? Let me think. So that's the width. Yeah. Okay, and then what we want to have is a float max width is equal to 0, and if width größer, oh my god, größer, I'm German, I'm sorry. So if width is greater than max width, we say width is equal to max width, right? No, max width is equal to width. Okay, and then num plus plus seems good. Okay, so that, and then what we basically say is we first render the line num. So let's say line num is equal to 1 again, and we also need to get the buff, and then we render the buff at 20 minus x offset, but yeah, we render it here. Yeah, exactly. But we want the text to be gray first, in color, and then like 150, 150, 150, okay, 55. And 0, what was 0 again? What was 0? Einheit, okay, and then the cursor thing, we just said -1. That's true. Okay, and what we then need to say is in here we say plus max width plus another padding, right? Let's see. Okay, that seems pretty nice. Okay, let's say line num plus plus. Let's format that correctly. Make right. Okay. I don't know if the let's go through 200, 100. Okay, it's perfect. It actually works. Okay, that's cool, right? That's actually kind of cool. Nice. Okay, that's cool. So hash include stdio.h int main int argc char pointer argv printf hello world. Okay, now the last thing that we will do is just saving the file. I mean, we can do loading the file and stuff, but I think we don't have time for that, right? But I mean, we kind of need to do that, right? I can maybe do that in off screen and then show you how I did it. But the video will get too long, I guess. Okay, but now for saving the files, actually, I think it's but it's also not that easy, right? Right, guys. So I wrote the write file function. Yeah, it's just like the boilerplate stuff. I mean, writing a file in C is not that interesting. So what we basically are doing is calculating the size of the buffer that we want to write into the file by iterating over all lines and like plus equal to the string length of the line text, and then we allocate the buffer and zero like, how do you say it, like zero out the last thing. And then we always and then we also do that, and basically we concatenate to the buffer the text. That's how I did it. Maybe it's dumb, but we concatenate the text of the line and the backslash n, because we don't have a backslash n at the end of the line. And yeah, and then we open the file, print it to the file, and close the file. So that's pretty easy. All right. Okay. So let's do that, right? But what we probably will need is, but that's too hard to do. But we would need some dialogue, like what do you want to name the file and stuff. But whatever. I mean, probably what we will need to do is like we expect to have a file path, and then open this file, or create it if it's not there. Like, you know, I'm going to say editor and then hello.c, and it takes that file and then writes to it if I press Ctrl S. All right. So let's see. Let's say, where is our main here? Let's say int argc char pointer argv, and what we are basically going to say is in here, if argc equal 1 or greater, smaller equal to 1, we're going to say fprintf std error. You need to specify a file name for the buffer specifier. All right. You need to specify a file name for the buffer and return exit, or just return 1, right? And else, what we're going to say is char pointer buffer path. We say buffer path is equal to argv at 1. Okay, and then in our thing here, we just ask for xks, right? For Control S. So xks, if we press that, we will say write file to buffer path. Okay, so let's see if that works. So make and then main.c. Okay. Okay, so let's include IO stream. Oh, what the fuck? Include stdio.h int main void printf hello world 0. I like how it's doing absolutely nothing. What the fuck? Oh my god, I call it main.c. I'm so dumb. Bro, if I didn't have this undo tree, I would be fucked as hell. All of my code would be gone. Oh my god. Oh my god, it worked, but... Oh fuck, I did it again! Wait. Okay, but I didn't call it... Okay. So let's call it test.c, right? Test.c. That's a good name. Hash include... okay, test.c. Nice. Looks perfect. Okay, so our editor can now save files. But also, I want the file, because if I open an already existing file, it should display this file. right? And it should also create the file if it doesn't exist. Okay, so basically, yeah, so let's do that. Alright, guys, so I did a little bit of something like just boilerplate stuff. For example, a read file function that takes in a file path and gives the buffer of the file, and something called split lines, which just allocates an array of strings from a continuous block of memory and splits it so that we can use the function in here and then append each line individually, right? And then, yeah, that's basically it. Then we free the file, and that's the load file function. And what I basically did is if I have a buffer path, then I just load the buffer path, and also I'd only append a new empty line if there's no buffer path. Thus, I set the current line to lines, which is just the first line, and that's what I'm left with. I now can edit my own editor in my own editor. That's just insanely nice. Okay, so let's add something like this. Control S. See that? It's magic, right? Okay, and we can also like go like here and something, edit something like here, and it's also pretty fast, right? Because inserting and everything is always all fun. But I think going like the further I go down in the file, the more like laggier it will get. But I think it's not like you cannot notice the lag in here, right? Because it's just too small of a file. But if the file would be large as fuck, then you can maybe notice some lag. But I think it's pretty cool. And you can also easily look at this dynamic resizing, and it focuses on the fucking it focuses on the pointer. And you can go in here and like go away, and it's a little bit buggy maybe, okay, but okay, but it's still working, right? Maybe it's a little bit buggy, but I think we can go with that. And also look at this, how smoothly it's all rendering all of this text. I'm very pro. No, I'm sorry, but it's actually cool, right? And I hope you liked this episode of making a known text editor in C using OpenGL, right? I hope you like it. If yes, then leave a like, and also if you want the source code, as I said, go and join my Patreon, right? I really like, you obviously don't have to, but it would be really supporting, right? You would support the channel a lot, and also me. So a huge thank you if you do it, and I hope you liked it, and bye guys, and peace out.